SpaceX to fly 2 tourists around the moon next year. This week, SpaceX announced bold plans to next year fly 2 paying passengers around the moon, using technology that's still in development. In 2018, SpaceX hopes to fly 2 private citizens deeper into space than any human has journeyed previously. The 2 travelers will trek some 400,000 miles around and beyond the moon during the 7-day mission, before looping back to Earth. Before training for the mission, SpaceX says each of the unnamed passengers will undergo a series of tests for their health and fitness. The passengers are set to travel aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft, shot into orbit by a multi-stage Falcon Heavy Rocket. The still-in-design rocket's first stage consists of 3 reusable rockets that produce 500,000 pounds of thrust. After separating, the central rocket propels the payload into orbit, where it continues on its voyage. SpaceX founder Elon Musk says the travelers will be trained for emergencies. However, the Crew Dragon spacecraft, which is also still being developed, will be mainly piloted autonomously. The crew can monitor real-time ship diagnostics, change the temperature, and take in views through one of the vessel's 4 windows. The spacecraft will conduct a flyby of the surface of the moon before traveling further out into space, where no human has gone before. It will then use the moon's gravity to slingshot back toward Earth. SpaceX hopes to launch the mission in late 2018, following a series of tests on the rocket and spacecraft. The identity of those traveling remains unknown, but one thing's for sure, they're very brave individuals indeed, and possibly also Scrooge McDuck rich. YouTube's ad policies are killing creators, but you can help. Be a hero at patreon.com/TomoNews. Keep watching as we take you deeper into the cosmos with more space travel stories. NASA's laser-powered spacecraft aims to reach Mars in 72 hours. NASA scientist Philip Lubin is working on perfecting laser technology that could propel a light spacecraft to Mars in as little as 3 days. Photons emitted from excited atoms in a laser have energy and momentum, which forms the basis of laser-based propulsion. Photons are released in a beam from a laser. When photons from a laser array reflect off an object, their energy is translated into a push that's capable of moving objects like a spacecraft. Rather than using a giant laser a la the Death Stars, researchers imagine an array made up of a large number of amplifiers that sync up and act like one big laser. The spacecraft launched with this technology will include a robotic probe and a large reflective sail. The spacecraft will be light because no fuel is needed. And this spacecraft could be accelerated to 30% the speed of light, which was previously unheard of. This technology could produce enough momentum to get a robotic spacecraft to Mars in 3 days and send a manned shuttle to Mars in a month. Using photonic propulsion, interstellar travel may be possible, and we could get a probe to Earth's nearest star, Alpha Centauri, in as little as 15 years. In comparison, our current technology takes 4 to 8 months to get to Mars. It took 37 years for the Voyager 1 spacecraft to reach the edge of our solar system. How Elon Musk hopes to ferry 1 million people to Mars. Billionaire Elon Musk has unveiled perhaps his biggest, most ambitious plan yet, colonizing the red planet with 1 million people. Using the Interplanetary Transport System, or ITS, SpaceX founder Elon Musk hopes to use a spacecraft composed of a 250-foot reusable rocket and 100-passenger spaceship to ferry humans back and forth to Mars. Musk envisions a 1,000-strong Mars colonial fleet of these ships departing en masse. The rocket booster segment of the ITS will transport the spaceship to low Earth orbit. Both parts of the ITS would be made up of carbon fiber, while the rocket would be powered by 42 SpaceX Raptor engines. That same rocket would then return to Earth and launch again with a propellant tank. This tank then connects with the spaceship to refuel the vessel. The spaceship would use 9 SpaceX Raptor engines as well as solar sails, which gather energy from the sun, on the 54.6 million kilometer journey to Mars. After transporting the cargo and passengers to Mars, the spaceship would refuel at the colony there and fly back to Earth. The cost of a ticket is currently estimated at $10 billion, but Musk hopes to get that down to below $200,000, or 0.002% of the current cost. Yeah, best of luck with that, Mr. Musk.
Nonprofit group plans permanent Mars colony. The race to Mars has begun. SpaceX chief executive Elon Musk says the company will send people to Mars by 2024, and he will reveal plans for colonization in September. Meanwhile, a nonprofit group also aims to establish permanent Mars colonies, sending the first group of astronauts by 2026. After Earth, Mars is the most habitable planet in our solar system. It has similar natural resources, a temperate climate, and an adaptable gravitational pull on its surface. Nonprofit foundation Mars One has developed a plan to colonize Mars. It has already selected 6 teams of 4 individuals, and the first team will begin training next year. In 2020, Mars One will launch a communications satellite to the Red Planet. Between 2022 and 2025, a series of rovers will land and assemble livable habitats, which include a life support unit and a communication system. The living unit will house an inflatable living section and an airlock used by astronauts when leaving the sealed, habitable settlement. The unit will include materials for the construction of rooms, floors, and electrical outlets, and comes equipped with showers and kitchen areas. Additional units will arrive and be constructed as new teams join the colony. Attached to the living unit is the environmental control and life support system. The system will feed nitrogen and argon gas extracted from Mars's atmosphere into the habitable space as inert gases. Thin film solar photovoltaic panels will be included to generate electricity. The life support system will be equipped with heating units to boil and extract water from ice in the planet's soil. Once the astronauts have landed, it will also be in charge of water purification and removal of carbon dioxide from the living unit atmosphere. The colony's communication system will include 2 orbiting satellites, one around Mars and one around the Sun. The satellite orbiting Mars will only be interrupted when Mars is positioned between it and Earth. To counter the lapse, the second satellite orbiting the Sun will intercept and relay the transmission, allowing almost 24/7 communication with Earth. The colony will lose transmission only when the Sun is between Mars and Earth, and Mars is between its satellite and Earth simultaneously. Mars One will launch a team of 4 members every 2 years, starting in 2026. It will take a year after departing Earth for a team to land on the surface of Mars. The organization hopes to train and send new teams even after the initial 6 have colonized the planet.
Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews. Huge balloon capsule will take you to space in 2017. For a lofty $75,000, you'll be able to be part of a new tourism effort in the Voyager capsule and be carried to the edge of space by the end of 2017. Worldview Enterprises is offering to send passengers to an altitude of 100,000 feet above the ground in a capsule carried up by a giant balloon. Once fully inflated with helium, the balloon will expand to about the size of a football stadium. The capsule will be equipped with large windows and will be able to carry up to 6 passengers and 2 crew members. The ascent into the stratosphere will take roughly 90 minutes, and the vessel will cruise for about 2 hours before descending. The balloon will separate from the capsule at 50,000 feet above the ground, at which point the parowing will guide the capsule to the landing site. On October 24, 2015, Worldview launched a successful test flight with a 1,000-pound replica of the capsule. The company is now ready to begin full-scale testing in mid-July 2017 and hopes to bring space tourism to the masses at the end of the same year.
20-kilometer high space elevator gets patented in the US and the UK. A new technology with the potential to change how spacecrafts enter orbit has recently been patented in the UK and the US. To get shuttles into space, rockets currently use large amounts of fuel and usually also carry extra fuel. Canadian firm Thought Technology aims to change that by essentially allowing astronauts to travel partway into space on an electrical elevator. The inflatable structure could, in theory, stand up to 20 kilometers high, over 20 times higher than the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa. From the top, spacecrafts could launch into orbit in a single stage, eliminating the initial need for vertical launch rockets. Inventor Ben Quine told the CBC that the tower could resist lightning, meteors, as well as Category 5 hurricanes. The company's CEO, Carolyn Roberts, believes the invention, along with the development of self-landing rocket technologies, could herald a new era in space transport.